He is in a living nightmare after being falsely accused of rape by a woman he barely knew. Jordan Trengrove was just 18 when he met Eleanor Williams on a night out in Cumbria in 2019. What happened next landed him in prison for 10 weeks, left him branded a rapist, destroyed his mental health. Eleanor Williams has since been unmasked as an evil fantasist and a serial liar. And today she was jailed for 8.5 years. Before we speak to Jordan, let's just hear what he had to say last time he was on the show back in January.
I took an overdose in front of my own mum. It was that bad. I didn't ever put other people's feelings first, if you get what I mean, because my life was just too messed up with all this stuff.
Well, that was Jordan then. This is Jordan now. Jordan, I was thinking of you today when I heard about the sentencing. Just wonder what your reaction was, given the scale of the lying and the fantasy.
So for those of y'all that don't know, this is him now in 2023. That was him back then in 2019.
Oh, God damn.
Now he's about to speak his story about being falsely accused of the R word.
Given that so many people like you were caught up in this web, do you think it's long enough, 8.5 years?
No, I don't think it's long enough at all. I think she should have been given a lot longer sentence in my eyes, because she's got time served as well. So in reality, she's out in 2025. So the sentence in reality is only 2 years. So I think she should have got longer.
When you saw the lengths that she went to, you know, buying a hammer, she's seen on video, buying a hammer to then attack herself, simply so she could frame people like you for raping her and grooming her in other cases and so on, and attacking her. What did you feel about that? What did you feel watching her just so calmly going about buying these tools to create this fantasy?
It makes me feel sick. I don't know how anyone would want to do that or want to hurt themselves in any way like that. I couldn't imagine ever hitting myself with a hammer or anything like that. You don't want to do anything like that. So,
You okay? Let's talk with love. Hold on. I think she got disconnected. Okay, I got it now.
I don't know what happened.
She dropped. The StreamYard just dropped you.
it just makes me feel very sick in a way.
The big debate, of course, is what happens with cases like this when you have somebody come forward who's got all these apparent injuries and makes all these incendiary claims of assault and rape and so on. Should the system, the legal system, start from a position of believing accusers, or should they start from a position of listening to the allegations and then investigating the facts? Because in your case, you were named on the front page of your local paper. You had rapists graffitied over your house and had to move. You were the one who felt suicidal. She, meanwhile, remained completely anonymous.
Facts.
Yeah, I do think that they should be listened to and taken into account in the newspapers. I think that should be changed, because that was one of the main things as well, what went towards destroying my life. I shouldn't have been named in that paper when I was only remanded, like, fair enough if I was convicted.
Yeah, I mean, when I think about the scale of what she did, and I heard the sentence, and like you say, if she behaves herself in prison, she'll be out in the next 2 years. To me, I don't understand why she didn't get a life sentence, frankly.
I think the exact same. I think she should have been given life. Reverting the course of justice can hold the maximum of life. And she's destroyed so many lives, not only mine. So she should have her life took away from her.
Jordan, how have you got on with rebuilding your life now? Has it helped having her now be named, identified, and jailed for lying, and you be associated with that? As people know, are you able to go back to your place where you grew up? And
if y'all was put in his shoes, how would y'all feel?
I'd probably either see what I would have to do. I'd actually find a way to prove how in this. I'll probably, see things in a good way or in a bad way. Bad way is I probably would have, I would have broken down easily. I would have ended my life, even though I don't believe in that type of thing. Because how can I carry on living if my entire life is ruined?
In the same way young Rios feels is how a lot of young men feel. Let's talk with love. If you was in his shoes, if you was a man, how would you feel?
I will feel bad. I feel bad now, like if I'm accused of anything, So as far as taking my life, no, I just will have to trust God in the situation. Sometimes we can't worry about what it looked like. I know he feel bad. I know all of that. Don't nobody want to be accused of anything, whether it's the R word or anything. So I know he feeling bad, but what are they going to do? What they going to do? Just give him money or something? Because that time that you spent in the prison, you can't get that back.
Yeah.
You might have lost your family. You might have lost your job. You got people looking at you funny. Some people, even when you do get out, and they say you didn't do it, some people still gonna believe that you did do it, because how did the person pinpoint you anyway?
Back and the lady
that's
the crazy part. They said it right in the beginning. She didn't even know him.
Right, but
it's like this. I'm sorry. It's like this. Because I know it personally. When I went to the first time I ever had to go to the welfare office, right? And I didn't me and my baby pops wasn't together. So this was all in the beginning. We was just friends in the beginning when I first had my daughter. He just recently, we just had a conversation, you want to marry me? I was like, I do, but let's get to see what happens. Anybody else a chance, I'll give it to him before I give it to anybody else. Marry your best friend because y'all know each other in and out. He's been there through thick and thin. But it's like, how can I say it? Let's get ourselves together first. Let's give it some time. Let's see what happens. Because we both got a story, we both got history and shit like that. So it's kind of like, regardless of anything, let's see if it works as a relationship.
Yes.
You
got to make sure you completely healed.
Yes, both of us.
Jump into something.
Exactly, because if not, I haven't hurt nobody yet, I think. You see,
right.
Because I thought I hurt my baby pops when he took his life, and it took me a minute to realize, no, Ray, you didn't. You just put your foot down and gave him some tough love, and it kind of backfired on you, and you was young, ignorant to the facts, and didn't know how to go about certain shit.
Right.
So it took me a minute to get out of that. So it's like, I don't think I've hurt anybody yet, but he's been in and out of relationships to the point where it's like, you need to learn you first.
Right.
Relationships since you were young. All I've had was a puppy love and my baby pops. Now you.
Right.
So I haven't been out there. I know I should, but I don't want to.
Right. But Ryder, let me say this about you. All that you have shared, the little bit of time that I've been knowing you, I commend you, because you're healing. You healing while you healing other people too. While you on your platform. So, but we sometimes have to make sure we heal before we move on, because we don't want to. I used to tell people that you can get in the same relationship with somebody. You can get in the relationship with a different person, but the same face, a different face.
And what my baby pop taught me, my first baby pop taught me, was that people are not the same when you first meet them.
No, they're not.
So it's kind of like me and him, our story is crazy. It's out there. I'll put it out there so people can kind of understand it. But he was way older than me. I was young. So, it's just a crazy story. So it's kind of like, you get where I'm coming from. Me being young and ignorant, and him being his age, but at the same time, neither one of us noticed we was groomed. We was being groomed.
Right.
So it's crazy. That's why I say our story is kind of crazy, crazy, crazy. So however anybody wants to look at it, when you sit here and listen to the story, and if he was here sit here standing alive right now telling his story, you would hate the same god thing I'm saying. Because I'm like, damn, listening to his story, when I was his age, I couldn't understand it. Now I'm 33. I get it. Watching everything around me. I didn't experience life when he first told me his whole life experience. I didn't understand. I was just learning life with a baby. I was a baby having a baby. People need to understand. I was a baby having a baby.
Wow.
What the hell I was. 16 pregnant, having a baby at 17. First apartment, out there making all this money, spending it on everything. Like when I first had my son, I thought it was all about name brand clothes. Then I realized, no, it's not about that, Ray. It's about just you and them. Because when I had nothing, it was just us. We had to have this bond, and I had to show him that it's nothing more than just family. Like, fuck everybody else. It's just us against the world. It's crazy. That's why I tell people, I'm like, my story is crazy as shit. And little by little, I will speak on it, but when I'm ready, not when everybody else is ready and when they want me to speak on it.
Right.
But my whole point by saying that is to show y'all, like, us females have choices, but we choose to do what the hell we see.
Right.
That's because at the end of the day, I was acting like my mom at a certain point when I was in my first relationship. Ratchet, wild, crazy. Like, if I didn't have an education, but I did have all the above. So people I see, and then my past didn't help. Me being a survivor didn't help. I didn't, like I tell everybody, I didn't really grow up until like 5 years ago.
Right.
I didn't really grow up until I was 3. I didn't grow up until I had my 3rd child. I was a baby having a goddamn baby. And I keep telling everybody over and over. I didn't understand why old heads when they were saying that, like, you ain't nothing but a baby having a baby. I used to get mad, like, what? I'm grown. You can't tell me what to do. Like, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just trying to explain to you and show you, like, look, listen, you ain't nothing but a baby. You're not going to understand nothing right now.
Yeah.
So life taught me each and every one of the lessons. And then I've always asked that question, like, speaking with everybody for the past couple of days about, should a man, should a woman go to jail for falsely accusing a man of, took me back to the incident my son had. When the teacher should have, instead of putting her hands on my child, listen to my child, like, oh snap, like he's having an issue with another little girl. It's like the little girl got a crush on him. And she want to sit here, still keep putting his hands on him while my son is saying, leave me alone, leave me alone. Then my son treated her like a little boy. I didn't say he was right. He knows better than that. But he reacted on impulse. He's autistic and he suffers from ADHD. So I'm not giving him the right. But at the end of the day, the way the teacher dealt with the situation is what made my son lash out the way he lashed out. It's a certain way you deal with kids in that spectrum. I'm not saying you treat them any different. You shouldn't treat them any different. But the same way you want to be talked to, I think it's the same way they want to be talked to. And it's the only way we can talk to them for them to understand us.
Yep, I agree.
So, like, she put her hands, she called my son crazy. She shoved him out of a classroom. Like, she shoved him on a wall. Like, and I'm sitting here, I'm like, he opened that classroom door, came back and reacted, hit the teacher right back too. They want to act like men. I'm going to show them what a man is like. And everything. I was like, oh my God, I don't know what to do now because I couldn't make it there. I was in an appointment with my baby. My, my daughter's father is the godfather still to this day to both the boys. So he was the first one at the scene. So it's kind of like, oh shit. Then they try to play him. They was like, I forgot what it was that they said to him, but he was trying to get my son out of the school and to go see the therapist right away. And they told him to hold on. He had to wait. Next thing he knows, what's in there behind him? Officers taking my son behind cuffs.
What?
What? They lied to him.
Wow,
they didn't
man.
know you have to sit and talk to an officer. None of that. They kept him in the dark. And guess what? He's on paper saying that you're allowed to tell him everything. He's there to pick them up. He's there, in case of an emergency. That's who you call. They fought heavy as shit. But you know what? Fighting hard as shit for my son, not giving up, not listening to everybody else because the lawyers and everybody was telling me, yo, sign up his rights, give him up. He has to give up his rights. No, if I tell him to give up his rights, he loses everything. For what? For defending himself? No.
Right.
Yeah. Wow, man. Wow. Okay.
Wow. The worst thing y'all could tell me was, tell him to give up his rights. No, he's 11 years old. What rights am I telling him to give up? As far as I'm concerned, I'm in charge of his rights.
Exactly.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. Wow, man. I mean, there is a way to deal with them. Well, I agree.
Everything would have went sideways. That's why I'm saying that us women, and that was a grown-ass woman. Why were your hands on another woman's child?
Exactly.
Yes, correct. I agree with you. That's pretty much gonna scar him for life.
If it wasn't for my son being behind handcuffs, because I had a whole panic attack there. If it wasn't for my son being behind handcuffs, I don't think that my baby pops would have been able to calm me down. because I wanted her. I wanted that teacher. No, like all I could do at the end was just stand there and cry and just curse everybody out. The tears were just coming out, but I'm just cursing and cursing. But everything I was saying was nothing but facts.
Well,
Yeah.
what made her feel like, and what was the school response to what she
You know what
done?
it is? They was, I think, and a lot of people are saying it. They getting tired of kids that are in the spectrum. I
Yeah.
think that's what it is. They're getting tired of the kids that are.
Wow, man.
They're getting tired of them. I'm telling you, like, because of the way they react, they don't understand. Like, listen, then you could be sitting here joking around, making jokes. A kid with autism, like, you know, young Riaz, we would have to break our joke down to him, which
Right.
won't
Yeah.
be no
It's
more,
called hypersensitivity.
and for it to be funny to them.
Yeah. It's also called hypersensitivity. So I'm pretty much prone to like, certain things can easily trigger me quickly. So so when you say that, I get what you're saying.
So, like, that's why I say when, like, I understand young Riaz. That's why you see me and Angel Hatton and Nate, the Word, and a lot of people. We try to like guide him to the proper channels.
Right.
Yep. And also that's why I trust you though. Wherever you guys go, I follow you because it's easier to trust you where you guys are going than for me to find it for myself.
Yeah, because he's gotten in trouble.
Yeah, I know I'm in trouble, but I learned anyway, so it is what it is.
Oh,
But
wait,
still, anyway.
hold on 1 second. Oh, okay. Go ahead, continue. My bad. You want to give your perspective on the topic when you come back? Should women go to jail for falsely accusing a man of? Yeah. All right, but all right. So my baby dad is going to give his perspective. So we got another male's perspective on the panel.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, great.
So he's went to the store real quick, and he'll be right back.
Mm-hmm.
But my bad. You can continue talking in Riaz.
So that's just saying nice. That's why I just trust, wherever you guys are going. Plus, though, anyways, the biggest support for me is not to cheat. So wherever she goes, I just follow where she goes.
And I understand him because I have a child just like him. They run by impulse. They just like us. The only difference is we can control our impulse. They can't.
Yeah, and also certain social situations that I'm going to struggle to understand and stuff like that. So before, I think when I was younger and stuff, said when I can, what you call it, start a conversation or like I can start a conversation. Someone had to start it for me and I had to continue it on or something like that. Now I actually learn how to do both.
That's a fact.
Mm-hmm.
But I would put them 2 examples there so y'all can see. I mean, I know plenty of people that have been falsely accused of certain situations, not all the same, but different. Like as you can see with my son. Like, why didn't the teacher, why wasn't there consequences? I've always asked myself that question. I'm like, wait a minute, her hands landed on my son first. Why wasn't there any consequences to this woman? But you know what the judge told me? She's a respected teacher. She looks up to her. She's a hero in her eyes.
Wow, man.
God. By
And
putting
you know what I had to
somebody
do?
else's child.
I had to sit here and stay as humble as I could and look like a fucking idiot because what I wanted to say, I couldn't say in the courtroom in reality. Like I could talk to you here freely. You know that in the courtroom, if I would bury my son, I would literally bury my son if I was to talk like that. And everybody knows it. The way you act out here, you cannot sit here and act in a courtroom in front of a judge.
Nope.
Mm-hmm.
There was
Mm-hmm.
no way I'm helping my son if I sit here and act like this. Or if I was to sit here and, curse out that teacher or no, man, I wanted her to go behind bars since I couldn't put my hands on her.
But they stick together.
Yeah,
They
but
stick
that
together
teacher should
anyway.
have her that teacher should have her license completely taken away from her, and never teach again, basically. She should be jailed and never teach again.
No,
Never.
she had quit and they try to sue my son. They try to charge him with a federal charges, right? Yeah, that's what it was, federal charges. They was trying to put him behind bars for 25 years. He was only 11 years old. Y'all telling me he wouldn't have never had a teenage life, a childhood, nothing. That's what y'all wanted for him, instead of him having an education, all because he messed up and reacted to somebody, all because he couldn't control his impulse. So tell me, why isn't this teacher behind bars?
Yes, exactly. But if that if your son was pretty much a girl, and if a girl did the same thing, basically, the girl would they would listen to the girl just like that, and the teacher would be terminated like that. Since he's a guy, okay, big trouble, big problem.
She would have put her hands like that on my son in the hood. She wouldn't have been as safe if she wasn't at school. Is that
exactly? But the school just all messed up because I have went to schools numerous of times, calling the board of education on teachers for my grandkids, and when I get them on the phone and tell my long story, they be like, basically, you sure she did that? Because the reason why is because it's a shortage of teachers. The teachers are underpaid, so they're gonna take their back. They're gonna have their back before they have ours.
And not just that, there's a teacher union, and I learned that the hard way. I learned it the hard way because I had lashback because of me standing up to the principals, the teachers, and everything.
It don't matter.
Shut up.
Yep, it don't matter. I've been through it with my grandkids over and over, and I get somebody up there that be, are you sure? You sure they done that? So now you're trying to say my grandchild is lying just because you need to keep this teacher, because whatever this teacher did, it can result for her to get fired. But you don't have another teacher to put in that spot, so you gonna go ahead and go with the teacher.
Facts. Let me see if I can pull this up real quick. That's why I started this. I'll be telling everybody, sign the petition. Let's get these cameras in each and every one of these classrooms, each and every one of these schools. I want this nationwide. Oh wait, what's going on? I got too many tabs open. Move on. Right, so I have a petition. It's on moveon.org, right? And I tell a lot of parents, like, if we really want to make a difference, let's do this, because I want to take this to the higher ups. I don't want to take this to a regular school meeting. I want to take this higher up. And if I get more people to follow behind me, I can actually make a stand.
Yeah.
I can't just go by myself. Like, no, I need to show these people that I got people behind me, whether it's a school board meeting or higher up than them. I've already was able to talk to Scott. I forgot what his name was. Scott something. He's basically the right hand of the senator here in Philadelphia, of Boyle. So, like, after 4 years, my story just finally got heard.
Wow.
Like, my story's on YouTube. Like, if you see it, you'll see me speaking to the representative of Boyle and all that. Like, I've asked for the cameras. I'm on there. It was only me and one other lady, and she was scared to speak on her story because she didn't want to get no lashback because she was a teacher/social worker.
It's hard for them to step up.
It's hard for them, bro, because they won't just get the bullshit from the schools. They're going to get the lashback from the teachers union and all that other stuff. People don't see that.
Yeah.
So, like, I understand where she was coming from, but I was like, damn, if I had more people to back me up, then we could do something. But me by myself, no, I can't. I'm like I tell other people, like, if you're in another state and you don't want to sign my petition, or even if you do sign my petition, you could also start your own petition from that state and do the same thing that I'm doing and try to fight for the same thing. Like, I don't want to be the only one fighting. I know there's more moms, more dads out there, grannies, uncles, grandpas, that are trying to fight for the same thing. I'm like, this right here is the solution. And if this doesn't work, you know what we left with? Boycotting our schools.
Right. But I've been in a situation like that, right? Well, we was going against the school system. We had my daughter that was on the step team, and then the soccer team, it was time for them to take their end of the year tests, and they wouldn't let our children.
Hey, what up, everybody?